Okay, let's jump over to round 11. Darrell Henderson, Josh Palmer, Brian Robinson, Russell Gage, Romeo Dobbs, Rashad White, Naeem Hines, Kenneth Gainwell, Devontae Parker, McCall Hardman, Michael Gallup, and Justin Fields. Justin Fields absolutely saved this round. There's a lot of bad in this round. And, this is what we kind of expect. When you get to this point in the draft, you drafting a lot of players with question marks over them. And Justin Fields had question marks over him, which is why he was here rather than higher up. But in terms of fantasy points over expected, you can see the standouts here with McCall Hardman and Justin Fields. And his season was incredible. Finish, he was a QB5, 296 fantasy points, 8 top 7 finishes, 94 rushing yards per game between weeks 6 to 17. But he was 56th in passing EPA amongst 57 quarterbacks with 50 or more dropbacks, which that's not good. We'll sum it up quite easily like that. Do you think that Justin Fields can make a jump with his passing game like he did with his kind of rushing game? Because his rushing game this year was way better than it was in his rookie season.
Yeah, I think so. And he clearly has the physical talent to do it. He made some deep throws. I coincidentally watched a lot of Bears games this year. I'm going to blame that one on RotoPat for assigning me Bears games a lot. But at least, they played the Lions that one time. That was fun. And Justin Fields can make throws at all levels of the field. He has the physical talent to do it. We have seen him do it in very sporadic instances. And we know that he is the best. He already has a really strong argument to be the best running quarterback the NFL has ever seen. He was on pace for the best season for missing 2 out of his final 5 or 6 games. If you want to say Michael Vick was better and he's the number 2, he had one of the best rushing seasons ever for a quarterback. He's already tied for 3rd in 100-yard games among quarterbacks career lifetime. He will project for 1,100 plus yards on the ground once you get him to a full 17 games. And once you get the offense to be more efficient by, adding talent on the offensive line, adding talent at receiver, not spending the first half of the season, not using him on design runs. For the first 6 or 7 weeks, they weren't even using him to his fullest potential. Even if you say his potential is only as a runner, I don't think that's the case. But if you he just doesn't have it as a passer, that's fine. They didn't use him effectively as a runner early in the season. It wasn't until they had a week 6. It wasn't a bye week.
It was a Thursday night game. Yeah.
They had, the mini bye where either Eberflus or the OC said we looked at I think they said old Deshaun Watson tape. And
it was old Ravens tape. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was old Ravens tape. And did you not think about that? You have the summer is so long. You have so many times at which you could have done this, and you get the extra Saturday, Sunday off, and you're now that I think about it, this Justin Fields guy can really run the football. Imagine if they had done it in the first half. He averaged over 100 yards from something weeks. You have it 617. He averaged 95 yards. That's a lot of yards over 17 weeks.
He could have easily been QB3 or so. It was I reached a point where I kind of boiled over with it, and I went on after that Thursday night game over here in the UK. I'd get up and watch the games on a Friday morning, and I was infuriated by it. I was this isn't how to use Justin Fields, and I was ranting about how bad he was and how bad the whole offense was. And then, of course, everything turns around, and I start looking like an idiot very soon. Another player who had a kind of difficult first season, perhaps. Brian Robinson, he looked like a man recovering from being shot. He was 72nd in fantasy points per touch out of 73 running backs with 50 touches or more. But he did have 66 rushing yards per game, which was the 14th most among running backs. Do you think that there's an upside case for Brian Robinson going into 2023 where he's not recovering from being shot and where he probably has a large workload from the get-go?
Yeah, I think my only really the reason I have a difficult time seeing him be more than the RB20 6 in a good season is that they seem to have really no inclination. I guess they actually did give him some routes. They hardly ever gave Antonio Gibson an 80% route share. Brian Robinson would pitch in for a dozen plus routes in games. He just did nothing. He was just a no value add on his routes. It was just catch and fall down, catch and go for negative yards. So even if he were to get more routes, it doesn't really seem to me like that would result in more production, or at least a meaningful amount of more production. So realistically, he is a between the tackles banger on a team that, like, I have no clue what their plan is at quarterback. They're at a point in the draft where they're not going to get like a quarterback, I am sure, or I at least have a strong belief, probably, maybe things change, but they're probably not getting a quarterback I have a strong belief in as a rookie. So I project this to be a bad offense that's going to lose 2 times the Eagles, lose 2 times the Cowboys per season. Like, the Brian Robinson story is great. It just happens to be that the way we play fantasy doesn't reward what he's going to do, which he is going to grind out 60 some odd yards per game like he did last year, maybe even more, but he's probably not going to score touchdowns and catch passes. And we care about that for fantasy. I don't think he's doing that.
Yeah, I think it was just this team probably just needs a complete clean sweep from everything once new ownership come in. Another running back who he definitely had the opportunity as well, Rashad White, but never really made the job his own. Now that Tom Brady's most likely out of Tampa and Leonard Fournette can be easily moved on, he's got a couple of years left on his deal, but it's very easy for him to cut him. After what we saw from Rashad White in 2022, do you have any trepidation about how high Rashad White could be drafted in 2023?
I do really want to draft Rashad White, but the thing is, like I took a ton of him last year. Feel pretty decent about how it went, all things considered. But he was like no better than Leonard Fournette between the tackles. Their offensive line, if like it depends on what happens with Brady. I don't think he stays. Probably, I don't think he wants to run it back with this iteration of the roster. But like, what? How did they're not going to upgrade? I was gonna say, how do they upgrade? They're not going to upgrade on Brady. They maybe go for Derek Carr, and it's not as big of a downgrade as we think, and we're pleasantly surprised that they skate through in the NFC South again or whatever. But the offense almost certainly is going to get worse. They haven't been able to invest in their offensive line because they've been spending a ton of money on just keeping the players they currently have, which hasn't been as much on the offensive line. So I think they'll have average at best offensive line, probably below average quarterback play. Like, the reason a guy like Derek Carr is available is because his previous team saw him for a bunch of years and said, nope, don't want that. He wasn't like particularly good in like CPOE or EPA either. So they're probably going to get below average quarterback play, average below average offensive line play. We saw in these or better circumstances this past year, he wasn't particularly efficient between the tackles. He's really good as a receiver out of the backfield. And if Fournette is gone, which does seem possible, if not likely, that's a lot of work to go around. I think I'm still going to take him.
It's not an easy one to talk yourself into.
He's going to be a 3-down back, and that's so much of what I care about. And he's going to be probably inefficient, and I'll get what I deserve. Like, I'm probably going to take him because I like him, even though, I mean, I guess the one thing is, he really could push for 300 touches, like 50 catches as a rookie, plus the entirety of the backfield of Fournette is gone. So much of what I care about running back is touches. He's going to have those, though. In terms of him out producing his like per, especially carry efficiency, the deck will be stacked against him.